And now we will start our first technical session, the first thematic session. As I told you, the topic is AI Gyration by Mr. Sreekanth K.A, Global Talent and Enablement Services Leader, EY Global Delivery Services. Just introducing or reading a small brief profile about him. Mr. Sreekanth K.A is a postgraduate in HR, MSW from Loyola College of Social Sciences, with almost 3 decades of experience in various organizations across the globe, in HR in various capacities like Head HR, Director, Vice President, CHRO in various organizations like Britannia, CA Technologies, GE Consumer Products, Philips Software, Toyota and many more. Presently, he is the Global Talent and Enablement Service Leader, EY Global Delivery Services. On behalf of everyone present here, and on behalf of ICSET 2023, a warm welcome to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, Sreekanth K.A.
Good morning.
So, as a part of welcome, please.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Over to you.
Wow, this is fantastic. I think we have around 2,000 students, faculty, and people from corporate sitting in this room. I could see a lot of people are waiting outside, isn't it? You have seen them? First of all, congratulations to ICT Academy for organizing such a wonderful event today, especially on the very hot topic called generative AI, or we can call it for simple reason AI. Generative is one of the wing of AI. And also congratulations to all of you for getting nominated to attend this excellent event. And this is going to be a game changer in the industry. How many of you heard about Y2K? Maybe almost 23 years back, heard about Y2K? Yes or no? You can raise your hands. Okay. So that is one of the very important event world has monitored. And there are a lot of rumors that after Y2K, Indian IT industries will perish, because most of the engineers at that time were working on Y2K project. After that 23 years, today, a lot of debate, discussion happening around Gen AI is going to disrupt the entire technology and every sector. And we need to be very, very aware of it. We need to get ready to face the big challenge awaiting for us. And many of the students, when they pass out, maybe after 3 or 4 years of engineering or graduation, you will find many, many new jobs emerging in the marketplace. So I'm going to talk next to 20 minutes how Gen AI is going to disrupt the entire industry and how you can, as a student, get ready to face this disruption and be relevant in the marketplace. So I have an introduction on AI and how it's going to change the entire education system. Then I'll have 2 use cases. I don't know whether I'll get time to walk you through both use cases, but I'll leave the deck with you, and you can get the deck and go through it. One use case on software engineering, how software engineering is going to change with the Gen AI. Second one is on data science, how the data science is going to change with the Gen AI penetrating it. So let me start with what is Gen AI and how Gen AI is going to really change the world. If we move to the next slide, Gen AI is considered as disruptive technology. And you might have heard of the word incremental and exponential. Incremental is small changes. That is good, and that's happening around us. And these small changes normally doesn't disrupt you. And you will get enough time to go through the change when it's incremental in nature. But Gen AI is going to be exponential change. That means not incremental. If incremental is 1x change, Gen AI will try 10x change. It will give 10 times opportunity or velocity to change. So if you go back into the first slide, this is the question we need to ask ourselves. What we learn today, can it transform us for tomorrow? The answer is big yes, isn't it? But you need to really learn what is relevant today so that you can be transformed in the near future. So in UI, we call this as better questions. We ask ourselves such similar questions on various contexts to really stimulate energy in us. So I want to ask the first question to you is, basically, what you learn today, can you transform you in the future? is very, very important. With this context, if you really look at what is happening in disruptive technologies, we call it as, at a group called digital technologies. The digital technologies today include majority is AI and AI family, starting with AI, which was 60 years old, started. A lot of research has gone into AI. Then we have machine learning. Then we have deep learning. Then we have what we call large language models, which emerged. And large language model have two wings. One is called generative AI, and the second one is called neuro-linguistic, NLPs. So this is where really impacting our maximum workload. But I'd want to let you know that not only the generative AI, which is disrupting today's marketplace, but also various other technologies. Don't keep your eyes from that, like IoT, like blockchain, metaverse. But our challenge is, how do you integrate Gen AI family, what we have seen in the last 6 months, into other disruptive technologies is what is very important. So the digital technologies drive deceptiveness. Deceptiveness means what? You'll be caught in surprise, because the change is not incremental, change is exponential. It is moving like this. Suddenly you'll find the curve moving up, and that is called deceptiveness. That means you'll be caught in surprise. So one of the key message I want you to carry, Gen AI is real, and it's going to disrupt, and the disruptive change will be exponential in nature, and we need to be ready. If you can move to the next slide, please. So when deception happen, what is going to happen in the industry is it will disrupt the way we are working today. So disruption is already happening in all sectors, and not a single sector left with AI. So we need to ready for that disruption. And one of the biggest challenge we see in this disruption is, how do our human mind, how do our behavior accept this disruption? But technology is real. The use cases on digital technology, including AI, is very, very real. But what we find in the industry is the behavioral change and adoption and acceptance by the stakeholders. I was doing a workshop in Delhi, and most of the participants were HR professionals and recruitment agencies. So I made a statement that one of the industries going to get disrupted is recruitment industry. The way we hire people, the way we onboard people is going to change in the next few months. The job boards like Naukri or many job boards we have, and we have many agencies who do recruitment, is going to get disrupted. So this disruption is going to be in a huge scale, but human mind and behavior need to be ready to accept this disruption. And especially as a students, the way you learn today need to change. I will suggest many universities and education institutions to pay attention on how to learn. And the content is there, the material is all around, and the basic challenge we'll face today is the way we learn need to change because of this disruption. When things get disrupted, it gets demonetized. Demonetized means it becomes cheaper and cheaper. And you remember in the telecom evolution, the data was very costly many years back. Today, data is almost cheap, isn't it? And that's the reason when disruption happens using digital technology, many skill set and many jobs what we do today, India, get disrupted and it get demonetized. And that means the cost of labor will come down significantly. That will have an impact on the job opportunity. That will have an impact on the earning capability if you don't upskill and reskill around this. So more and more commoditization of workloads or jobs will happen with the generative AI. The next one is it get dematerialized. Dematerialized means it will be available abundance in the marketplace. So in future, a skill which was considered as scarcity become abundant in the near future because of Gen AI. I'll walk you through some examples around that. And the last one is, once it get dematerialized and demonetized, it get decentralized. That means it create job opportunity in villages, tier 3 cities, tier 4 cities, it create opportunities. So I was in a village called Nitte near Bangalore, and I addressed around 1,000 students 2 weeks back. And I asked the question, how many of you know gig working, or how many of you registered in gig platform? And not a single hand raised. And I asked them, how many of you use today AI in your learning? Not a single hand raised. Then I given some example how you can be a gig worker sitting in village, and how can you use certain AI tools available today to improve your communication skills or bridge the gap in communication, what is considered as one of the disadvantage in many of the villages today. So demonetization, dematerialization will democratize the workload, and what we do today in tier 1 cities like Bangalore or tier 2 cities like Cochin and Trivandrum, tomorrow it can be done in tier 3 and tier 4 cities. So that's an opportunity with the Gen AI coming in. So that's the context I want to set it. And the key message here is get ready for disruption. And disruption is not incremental. Disruption is, what is that? Exponential. And the biggest challenge in disruption of exponential nature is the mindset change, the behavioral change, and the social change around is going to be very big with this kind of disruption. Now let's move into the next important aspect. And here, if you really look at very interesting statistics, I was nominated in a skill board as a chairman 2 years back. I had a chance to work with the government of India and Britain in terms of analyzing skills and creating a skill-based economy, or we call monetization of skills. A lot of us know a lot of things, but very few people know how to get money of what we know, isn't it? So that is called skill monetization. So very interesting statistics. In India, we have around 70 million students enroll on higher education every year. And out of that, you will see an increase of 40 million students in next few years it will happen. And out of the higher education, you will see 40% higher education universities are in villages. And we have around 60% of the higher education institutes are in the villages. And this is scary statistics. And I'll show in the next slide, out of close to 9 million students, only 1.5 million students get employed every year. And what is happening on other balance of students? So that is an opportunity Gen AI will provide it. How do you make students ready for employment? And that is what the focus of ICT Academy. And EY is one of the partner in ICT Academies. Over the last several years, we have been working with ICT Academy in creating curriculum which is relevant for us. So another interesting statistics, if you see, India is the second largest market for e-learning. And you not come to the room or a classroom for training, you can learn remotely. So e-learning industry is in India is flourishing, and it is expected to grow around 16%. And that's a huge opportunity which Gen AI will unlock it in coming years to skill the people. Now let me move in the next slide, which gives a little more interesting statistics. Then I will get into the application of Gen AI in education and skilling and employability. And if you really look at by 2024, the kind of shared services, IT and business process opportunity in terms of revenue in India will be $60 billion. And by 2026, it is expected to grow by $85 billion. That's an opportunity of IT and IT enablement services in India. If you move to the next slide, you'll give a little more insight on what are the challenges we are facing in education. And as I mentioned, 1.1 million undergraduate, postgraduate, and PhD students are getting employed. But close to out of 9 million students is scary statistics, isn't it? So 1.5 million out of 9 billion is getting employed. And the earlier slide, it shows the growth rate is phenomenal. But the next slide, if you go, it shows the gap in skills available. Sorry, next slide, please. Then we'll come back on this. Next slide. One more. Yeah. So this is the opportunity. You can see in India, the need for technical skills and the gap is significant. And you see the graph here. And what is the kind of projected talent growth and what is the demand supply. So this is a growth of talent available to be employed. And this graph shows what is the skill gap, what we have in terms of getting employed. So that's an opportunity. So how do you really size this opportunity? How do we relook into our education system? How do you really design skilling initiatives are the golden opportunity for us to really resolve? And a state like Kerala is doing an amazing job over the last several years. And I say it's not enough. For example, EY in India, we have around 10,000 employees between Cochin and Trivandrum. And we are one of the big employer in Kerala when it comes to IT and professional services. But our aspiration is to grow Kerala into 25,000 people. And we are working on a plan. In fact, I was in a management meeting last week, and I was told, why can't you feature all the demands in tier 2 and tier 3 cities? And we consider Cochin and Trivandrum as tier 2, and we started recently in Coimbatore as tier 3 cities. So when we design our employment program, one of the biggest opportunity what we are working on is how do you really fill the gap in demand supply. And I'm very sure once you fill this gap, the demand also will grow up. And many of my stakeholders and customers are a little reluctant to move more jobs to India. They said there's a shortage of skills. So that's the problem we need to collectively solve it. Interest of time, now I'll move into, I've shared what are the opportunities, and you really look at the flow of talent happening in India. People start in IT services firm, then they soon get into tech consulting, then they move into tech product companies. And if you really look at, we need to prepare for all the three sectors, what you see in here, IT services, technology consulting companies, and technology product companies. And the skill set required for all the three are very different, and lot of innovation happening in skill set for all the three areas in the technology. So if you move the next slide, one more. So these are some of the interesting statistics I mentioned earlier. A lot of organizations are going to bet on tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Because tier 1 city, the availability of skill set, productivity, and cost of labor is increasing. The only way you can address is how do we really move into tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And I will add one more component. How can we accelerate gig workers or freelancing workers, where people can work from remote villages, working at their home, they can get employed, we call solopreneurs. And EY is already doing a lot of pilot in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and we recently started in Karnataka also. How do you create gig workers working in home? One of the programs which I've designed for one of the village in Karnataka is we are also teaching students biofarming. So morning 6 to 10 they work in their farm, and 10 to 6 they work in the freelancing or a gig workers working in home. So that's the kind of an opportunity. And now I'll walk you through how can we really transform our education system and skill system to address the skill gap and the opportunity around us. So far any questions or thoughts? Now I'll take next 10 minutes to walk you through how AI will change the world of learning, how it is going to change the world of skilling, and how it is going to change the world of employment opportunity, what we see. Now let me move to the next slide. Maybe we'll skip a few slides. This is one thing we need to really focus on. A lot of research we are doing with a company called Drop on how the learning environment and skilling environment is going to change. Interest of time, I'll give few examples. Today, one of the pillar in learning which we are looking to disrupt using AI technology is called interactivity. The traditional learning system have limited interactivity between students and faculty, between students and the professionals like us who can give internship projects, who can give mentoring and coaching to students directly. So the triangulation, the student, the teaching faculty, and industry, how can we improve the interaction using Gen AI tools and methodology? I'll show you some example how we can do it. Then I'll pick up another one is called content scalability. With the Gen AI coming, the content scalability will be improved substantially. Our traditional learning systems doesn't have the ability to create content at scale. For example, animation. If you want to create any learning content using animation technology, in the legacy way of doing it's very difficult. I have my head of learning solutions, he uses a lot of animation, and you will agree with me, many of the content we are not able to convert into animation and gamification because of lack of technology, lack of skill set available. With the Gen AI coming in, at least 80% of our learning content can be animated, and also we can make it more interactive with the students. So a lot of investment university need to make this content scalable from animation perspective as well as from gamification perspective. Then another one is, I'll take the training time. With the Gen AI coming, the learning time or training time can be improved substantially. So if you really go in the last one, learner's experience. Today the students, the way they learn, the experience can be exponentially changed. So I will not have a time to go through it, but I have a very detailed analysis and examples how we can use these kind of experiences using Gen AI, which is many universities started adopting, increasing learning experiences. How do you digitally change the content, and how do you make interactive with the students, academia, and the learning faculty? How do you make it more interactive? Moving to the next slide, if you really look at our opportunity, very, very important that we need to pay attention to a lot of tools available. And one request to all the faculty and ICT Academy is, when you start teaching students, not only talk about the content, but pay a lot of attention to methods and tools available for students to deliver their learning much better in the corporate. So you need to teach students the learning, tools and methodologies available today to deliver their skills in the organization. I'll give few examples here. There are a lot of image generation tools available. We need to teach students how to create image generation or how to do image generation as part of their workload. There are a lot of tools for video generation. If you are doing graphic design or content management, there are tools today which can create images or generate images. Third one is audio application, then text and content creation, then virtual reality. Move into the next one. Then we have coding, data augmentation, anomaly detection in coding and processes, chatbots and language translation. All this today, phenomenal number of tools available. So one of the challenge today when we teach students in the university, can you also teach students how to use these tools so that their productivity and their output when they join corporates improves substantially. And with this kind of toolkit, the gap between a student in village and student in urban will fill tremendously. So one of the reasons we are not able to hire large number of people from village is basically lack of language skills, especially English, and confidence. There are a lot of tools today, students need not worry. You can type whatever you want in your Word document, cut and paste in ChatGPT. ChatGPT will edit the content for you. Then you can put it back in your email and send it to your stakeholders. So your communication gap, confidence, and some of the productivity improvements can be done using this toolkit. So one of the challenges, how do you teach these tools along with the theoretical curriculum? And in fact, we should create a lab. I recommend strongly create a lab where students can go and learn and stimulate these kind of tools so that when they join corporate, they're ready to contribute. And there is no significant gap between people from tier 2 or tier 3 and tier 1 in terms of productivity and innovation. Now, I'll take one use cases. If you can really move into the next slide. Yeah, please. Yeah, I know we need to close it. Yeah, next. Yeah, this is one very interesting observation. It is called Benjamin 2 sigma problem or opportunity. So Benjamin research shows that when you do classroom training session or a learning session for students compared to one-on-one, the one-on-one is much better. So there is a productivity or output improvement of 2 sigma. That means a substantial shift happening in terms of learnability and the skill development of students. So how do you apply this in mass? So one-on-one tutoring is easy in a physical setting, but the education cannot afford that, one-on-one tutoring. With the digital technology and with the AI technology, we can do mass personalization. So one of the challenge or one of the opportunity we have tomorrow is how do you use GenAI toolkit to teach students in a personalized manner in a mass format or a large format with the help of technology. So I have two case studies. Depending on time, I'll walk you through definitely one. If you really look at, move into the next slide. Yeah, next one. Yeah. Now, let me walk you through a very interesting, I have two case studies here, but we are working with a generative AI company to redefine entire learning curriculum and reskilling curriculum in organization. So I have two use cases. One is on data science, another one is software engineering, but we are doing it for all technology and all business process like this. So first, what the AI technology has done, it has gone to various university curriculum and various education technology curriculum and defined what is the workload for a data scientist. And this is the workload for data scientist. The professors who teach data science in colleges can really get connected with this. This is a curriculum normally they use it. And many of this curriculum also used by what you call EdTech companies and corporates to reskill and cross-skill their employees. Now, if you move to the next slide, now you need to understand, I don't have enough skill set of data scientists in Kerala to hire. Then I can come to ICT Academy or a learning institute and ask them, can you reskill, cross-skill data scientists in large number in the next 2 or 3 years? For that, we used an AI technology, and the concept here is called risk or propensity index. That means I need to understand what are the adjacency skills for data scientists, and how can we reskill and cross-skill this adjacency skills into data scientists and create a mass opportunity for these people. So using an algorithm, it looked at 3 job families. One is data analyst, the second one is software engineer, and a systems engineer who manages the infrastructure environment. And it created a concept called RPI. If the RPI is above 5 and less than 6.5, you can reskill that person. And if the RPI is above 6.5, you can upskill this person. So from this chart, it shows the software engineer and data analyst job family can be upskilled into data scientist very soon, and whereas systems engineer has to be reskilled. Then if you look at the next slide, it clearly shows how do you move from data analyst to data scientist and software engineer and systems engineer, data scientist. What are the skills that person already have can be used? What are the skills that person need to have? How can we use it? So next slide also give you a curriculum to reskill these people into data scientists. So many organizations are using AI technology to reskill, upskill, and cross-skill large number of employees in business today. My next case study, I don't have time, is on software engineering. How can university prepare software engineers of the future? Maybe just quickly show one chart. It shows that what you teach today is relevant in future in software engineering, and what we don't teach today is more important than ever before, and how can we redesign your curriculum to teach software engineers of the future. So that is one example I have that's on software engineering. It clearly shows about today's curriculum need to be changed substantially to make the future software engineers of the world. And if we can really go through, I'll leave the slides with you. So my recommendation to ICT Academy is 2 things. One is we need to really work closely with the industry, and there's a huge opportunity Gen AI will give you to really understand what are the future skills and how do you change your curriculum and the learning methodology or a pedagogy of learning to really meet the demands of the future. So one question always we ask our employees, are you really worried about Gen AI? So the conclusion is Gen AI will not replace human skills completely. Gen AI will not make any one of us redundant. Gen AI will not stop us entering into the job market. But what Gen AI can do to you, it will replace a person who is not using Gen AI by a person using Gen AI. So that's an opportunity. If you are not using Gen AI in your day-to-day job, you need to worry because you will be replaced by a person using Gen AI. The last one, there are two types of career emerging in Gen AI. One is Gen AI technology career, like prompt engineer, Gen AI data scientist, Gen AI developer. These are purely technical in nature. Also, some of them are beyond technology domain in nature. That's a type A career. Type B career, what we call it as people who are using Gen AI to transform their business, transform their domain, transform their function. These are the two types of it. So one of the challenge in today's education system is how do you prepare students for type 1? That means who can be prompt engineers of the future, ethical AI designers and developers. And the second one is how do you prepare students, whereas in HR, finance, marketing, or any business processes, or any technology, how can you prepare students who will use Gen AI tools and methodology to make it more relevant? And for that, we need to change the way we learn. We need to change the way we teach. And Gen AI will be a phenomenal opportunity. And especially the tier 2 and tier 3 and tier 4 cities and villages will have a phenomenal opportunity to use this and transform the economy and the job opportunity of our students. With that, I wish you all the best. It's an opportunity. Embrace it and go for it. Don't wait for it to prove the world that it is possible. It's already proven, and we need to jump into the wagon and start moving. Thank you very much and wish you all the best.
Hello. So that was a very, very insightful presentation from Sreekanth K.A. Big round of applause. I think he has really set the context. Thank you so much for your very bright presentation on AI Gyration.